Solidarity News Brief, bringing you news highlighting the dignity of human life from conception to natural death. I'm René Trebanino.
And I'm Dominic DiCarlo. Ukraine fired several American-supplied longer-range missiles into Russia, officials said Tuesday, making the first time Kiev used the weapons that way in 1,000 days of war. According to an AP News article from November 19th, the use of the Army tactical missile system came as Russian President Vladimir Putin formally lowered the threshold for using nuclear weapons, opening the door to a potential nuclear retaliation from Moscow, even to a conventional attack by any nation supported by a nuclear power. That could include Ukrainian attacks backed by the United States. This came after President Joe Biden had authorized Ukraine to use US supplied missiles to strike deeper inside Russia, easing limitations on the longer range weapons. In response to this, former presidential candidate for the American Solidarity Party, Peter Sonsky, indicated on X, quote, "After invading a sovereign nation, Russia has no moral ground to lecture the U.S. in its defense of Ukraine. I disagree with President Biden's decision, however, and seek an immediate ceasefire in this conflict." Close quote. And he also stated, in response to the authorization by Biden of the use of U.S. missiles in the war, quote, "I hold Russia as the aggressor in this conflict and have supported U.S. aid for Ukraine. This is a step too far and raises the stakes of still more escalation. This is a dangerous decision by a lame duck leader." Close quote. In regard to such conflicts, the American Solidarity Party platform states, "We believe that just war requires that war should only serve as a last resort against grave acts of aggression and must be undertaken with clear goals and due regard for unintended consequences. The conduct of war must be covered by norms of proportionality and respect for human life."
Callum Miller warns, quote, "The present moment is one of the most dangerous for American pro-life politics since the pre-Reagan era. If the movement makes the wrong compromises now, it will risk going the same way as Western Europe, where the pro-life cause is effectively dead." End of quote. In this article from firstthings.com from November 21st, 2024, the author points out the direction of the Republican Party away from the pro-life movement with the watering down of the platform from its former more pro-life position, and Donald Trump's nomination of pro-choice political figure, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., for the head of the Department of Health and Human Services. Miller reflects on the pro-life movement under conservative government control in the UK, stating, quote, "Under 14 consecutive years, the Conservative government, including most recently a 5-year supermajority, at home and telemedicine abortions were introduced with almost no safeguards in the UK. Hundreds of millions of pounds were sent to other countries to promote abortion through organizations such as International Planned Parenthood Federation, based in the UK, among others. People have been arrested for praying silently in their heads on the street. Even the law banning sex-selective abortion failed to pass." End of quote. He also states, quote, "How did we get here? The answer is simple: by consistently supporting the lesser of two evils in elections, no matter how compromised they are." End of quote. He warns that the same can occur here in the pro-life movement of the United States. Presidential candidate for the American Solidarity Party, Peter Sonsky, reflected on this article, stating on X, quote, "A sobering assessment of the pro-life movement." End of quote. The American Solidarity Party is a relatively new and growing third party, which has a consistently pro-life platform and incorporates Catholic social teaching principles of subsidiarity and solidarity. On this life issue, the American Solidarity platform states, quote, "We recognize that the inalienable right to life from conception until natural death must be formally acknowledged by all levels of government. This acknowledgement includes a Human Life Amendment to the U.S. Constitution clarifying the equal protection of the law applies from the moment of conception, as well as laws that prohibit or restrict abortion at the state and federal level."
Denver rideshare drivers just launched a worker-owned co-op. This new alternative to Uber and Lyft aspires to give workers more income and more say over their working conditions. According to an article from hcn.org on October 31st, the new co-op, named Rocky Mountain Employee Ownership Center, was starting a driver-owned rideshare cooperative as an alternative to Uber and Lyft, which considers drivers independent contractors rather than employees. According to the article, Drivers have complained about their jobs under Uber or Lyft. In one particular case, one driver drove an Uber customer to Denver International Airport for $180, for which he only pocketed $30, or less than 17%. Another driver showed a screenshot whose fare was $100, for which the driver received $25. With the co op, this is inverted. 80% of every fare would go to the driver, and only 20% go to the co op. As the American Solidarity Platform states, we believe the American economy should be reordered to place human dignity first and to recognize that the family is the basic unit of economic production. We are committed to policies that emphasize local production, family owned businesses, and cooperative ownership structures.
A prominent Catholic anti-death penalty group is urging outgoing President Joe Biden to commute the sentences of 40 people currently on death row in anticipation of the second term of President-elect Donald Trump, who favors capital punishment strongly. According to the article in Catholic News Agency from November 8th, Catholic Mobilizing Network, an advocacy group founded in 2009, said in a statement posted November 6th that the federal death penalty is a broken system that does not deter or make communities safer. According to Valancourt Murphy, the group has, quote, begun mobilizing the National Catholic Network to petition President Biden in the spirit of mercy and the kind of justice that upholds the dignity of all life, no matter the harm one has caused or suffered, to commute the sentences of all 40 men currently on federal death row. President Biden was the first president to campaign on abolishing the federal death penalty. Given that this lame duck period converges with the beginning of Jubilee 2025, it is fitting that he should act on this faith and do what is clearly within his constitutional authority to do. The American Solidarity Platform states, quote, "We acknowledge that capital punishment suffers from the disproportionate use against those with fewer legal resources, the impossibility of reversal, and the existence of better alternatives to protect the rest of society. Therefore, we call for its abolition." Good day for now, and remember, all human life has dignity from conception to natural death.